All right. I share YouTube.
And
So does Amy.
Amy, it goes like this.
okay, YouTube is live. Now I'm going to connect to Facebook.
YouTube is live. I swear, I
Facebook
can't get. I don't know why
is-
my notification. I said I want all notifications of wrong. About
Facebook
everything,
is live.
and I get nothing.
You'll have nothing and you'll like it.
I'll have a hot dog.
It's a little.
No hamburger.
Oh, I'm on the wrong
I want a
account.
cheeseburger. You'll have nothing and like it.
There we go. Wrong about impeachment. Oh, see, now it shows up. I was in the wrong. There we go. Oh, shush.
Any last minute notes? I can't remember. I think Brian has the only Spanx and thing video.
No video.
To be here.
Yeah.
Just glad to be here. All right.
Just
on that,
glad.
we'll start it.
Just happy to be back.
Support for Wrong About Everything comes from Minnesota's credit unions. Credit unions are locally based, member-owned financial cooperatives that return earnings to members through higher savings rates, lower loan rates, and reduced fees. Visit mncun.org for more information.
And welcome back to another episode of Wrong About Everything. I am Democratic strategist, the Puerto Rican Heat, and recently went cabining, Javier Murillo.
I am small business attorney Davis Senseman.
I am just glad to be here, Amy Koch.
Oh, yeah.
I am GOP strategist and Twin City Sugar.
And we are...
Brian,
Wrong about
Brian McDaniel.
Oh, God, you're so slow. And we are...
Wrong about everything.
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like
It's been a long time.
it's been a long time. I feel like,
Just so you know,
where am I?
my knee-jerk
Does everybody remember me?
reaction was
Guys,
very
we're talking about me
racist.
now.
Hey, guys.
Hey, guys, we're talking about me.
Are we?
Remember me?
No, we don't.
No.
Where have
I
you
know,
been?
I know.
Where have you
I
been?
was in Montana. I was working the week before. I can't even remember. It was a bummer. It
Yeah.
was a
Yeah.
total bummer. I missed y'all.
Yeah.
I mean, the
Missed
shows
your
went
smiley
great.
little
They tried to give your space away. They were like, you know what? Do you just want to stay?
Yeah.
To everyone who filled it.
We're like it's a barber chair. Look, just rent it.
No.
No. Welcome back, Amy.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Missed ya.
Yeah. So you guys, I went to a cabin in Wisconsin.
So someone invited you,
Someone
but it's
invited me.
Wisconsin, not Minnesota.
Also
That's right.
not a native
the
Minnesotan.
better state.
The better
For
sta- well,
cabining.
cabining.
Yes, for cabining.
Only
Wait,
for cabining.
Was it Davis?
It was
It was
Davis.
me.
Yay!
We went cabining. We went to the Worst Fest.
Oh,
And the verse.
that sounds like the best.
You know,
Yeah.
well, I was disappointed.
Oh.
I was like, there better be shirts that say the worst fest is the best fest.
Yeah. No?
It's just sitting there, people. Just sitting there.
Sitting there like
Yeah.
a wurst on a bun.
And that and that store has a sign above the door that says "Welcome, sausage lovers." That I know they know is a favorite of Javier and the women.
Did you know
who-
that Wisconsin has a beef jerky outlet?
An outlet.
Which means that you've been buying your jerky retail like a sucker.
paying full price.
Wow.
Idiot.
Yeah, Versefest was lovely. Everything was lovely. I posted a photo of myself on an ATV.
I wondered what you were doing.
Yeah, so did my sister-in-law. She's like, "What is happening there?"
Yeah, it was not very clear. You should have gone like further up
Yeah,
just from a
so you
selfie
could
point of view
see-
so I
yeah.
could see the ATV because all I could see was you like, ah!
In a helmet.
Like, yep, in a helmet, like going, I'm Wisconsin.
That was, you know, it
See
was.
how I pay attention to your stuff?
That was, yeah.
Follow you like a fangirl.
I should unblock him.
Oh, did you listen to those people calling for me to be deplatformed? Did you disavow me?
I disavowed you. I wasn't here, but I was disavowing
people
you.
have
No,
spoken.
you missed your chance to disavow me.
I know,
Amy.
but we were wrong. Just gonna slide it in under
me
the
all
wire.
you want.
Disavowing.
Go ahead.
They avowed you in Wisconsin.
They avowed me, yes. Also, the lovely thing about this town, it's this like lovely mix of like local folks, small town energy with like welcome lesbian cabiners.
It does have a lot of weirdly.
You know what that reminds me of?
Davis is a
Maple
hometown
Lake,
hero.
Minnesota.
That's true, actually.
It is. It's
Where?
Like
Maple Lake, Minnesota.
Oh.
When we went to her former bar, like the lesbians, one says to me like, "How'd you know this was the gay bar in town?" I'm like, "Well, sister, I did not know that."
I am just finding this out.
Yeah, it was lovely because she's like, "Wow, the gay! You really brought
It's
the gay."
radiating.
And then this gay beat the town giant at
boxing.
At boxing.
Oh, what?
I mean,
He
not
did.
literally boxing each other, but there was a boxing
Yeah,
machine.
one of those, like-
And
Oh, yeah.
box machines,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you had to like see how hard you hit it.
Oh yeah, he was challenging everyone.
Scott Palman.
Yeah, and then
Huge guy.
and then he's like, "Well, I'll do a kick." And at the time, I was doing kickboxing, so he does a fancy kick, then I do a fancy kick, and I beat him then too.
He did.
And everyone at the bar is like, "What the fuck is happening?"
And he had to leave. He had to leave the
homosexual-
town.
Yeah, this homosexual. Yeah.
No, he was like, huh?
Yeah,
Bested me.
I respect
Nice
that
work.
gay guy.
Like, bested me.
Yeah.
You got me.
Where are we?
Well, we are deep within the bowels of NBC. Wow. Brian's feeling a little left out.
He is.
I'm going to turn my mic off and start returning emails.
Remember?
Wow.
Remember, you were there too, Brian.
Yeah.
When Javier bested Scott.
Yeah, but he wasn't the center of attention, so it's very
He
disappointing that
becomes
we're
bored
talking about it.
easily.
I don't
money
even think
because
I
he
knew about it till after.
Bet against.
How about that time
Javier.
you farted?
That was a good one.
How's that for attention?
We are in the Minnesota Credit Union Network studio. Just like that was a nice little transition from Brian's fart to you should credit union with a credit union.
Yes.
And also, should you get in trouble across state borders or not, you should consult the lawyers at Bradshaw & Bryan. Their entire team of attorneys and staff is dedicated to providing the legal advice you need, combined with the service and personal attention you deserve. If you have questions about how they can assist you with a personal injury, wrongful death, or criminal defense matter, do not hesitate to contact them. You can do so at 800-770-7008 or at minnesotapersonalinjury.com. And always remember, consultations are gratis. So you guys, we're back.
You're not going to mention our anniversary?
Oh, that's right.
Oh.
It's our 12-year anniversary.
Friendiversary.
Friendiversary on Facebook.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
means you were real friends before that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I-
Or maybe acquaintances. Maybe not. Sometimes
that might attract pretty closely because we started playing Words with Friends before we were
Yeah, we were doing. Yeah, well, because we were on TV at least in 11 and 12.
Yeah,
So that would have been 3 years before the podcast.
Yeah.
Roughly.
Yeah.
It's also my actual real anniversary this week with my wife. That was yesterday.
That
but
seems
a
more
shorter
relevant.
time.
Yeah.
Like only 6
A
years.
shorter, yeah.
So nobody cares.
That's
Much
true.
shorter than his
Just
marriage to
pointing out.
Javier.
Hey, Jenny.
Look at that picture.
Yeah, there's a photo of me ATVing.
You can't tell.
It says Butch as Hell, but and the Butch as Hell lettering matches the pink of my outfit.
Yeah.
Which seems contradictory. Yes, yeah, it was lovely. Yeah, you don't know what I was like. I'm wearing a weird helmet. I mean, that's the.
Nope. I wanted to see the.
You wanted to see the whole.
Well, there was another one.
Was it an old-fashioned, old-timey three-wheeler?
No,
Was
it's a
no,
four-wheeler.
It was a
It was a
four-wheeler.
four-wheeler.
All right.
It was a
See,
four-wheeler.
these are the questions I had.
Dear Mr. Johnson,
Thank
thank you for the
There he is
quickness
again.
of your reply.
I know those ladies.
Sent
Yeah.
from my laptop.
There we are in a lovely. That was at the Lesbian Supper Club.
It's not a lesbian supper club.
It's a supper club.
Just a lot of lesbians go to the
Yeah.
supper club.
Well,
was there-
that's 6
was
of
there
one,
a
half a
relish
dozen of the other.
There was not a relish tray.
Really?
There is if you sit down for dinner.
Oh,
But we ate in the
I
bar.
think a supper club has to have a relish
Right,
tray.
we ate in the bar.
There's we missed the relish tray.
Yeah.
Oh,
Got to go
we had
back.
a reservation.
But only for the bar.
I see. Well, so this week the big news, of course, is Kevin McCarthy, Speaker of the House,
Single-handedly.
the handpicked. Remember,
But maybe we should pay some bills first with Bradshaw and Bryan.
No, he already did.
did it.
oh my
did?
God,
I missed it.
he's the one who's not listening. You too.
I'm listening. I just don't like it.
I'm not. I haven't been here for a while.
Yeah,
She forgot how it goes.
We did that.
Yeah, we did that.
Bleed it off.
House Speaker Kevin McCarthy announces an impeachment inquiry into what? Who knows? We'll see. We'll see. Maybe there's something there.
Well, it's a high crime and misdemeanor.
Maybe.
As defined by?
Maybe. Who knows? Until a few weeks ago, he was saying that he would not do so without there being a full vote, which was a way of protecting himself.
Which is a rule.
I think Pelosi said, I'm not going to do it unless everyone's on top of it.
No. They were mad that Pelosi did it without a vote, and so then they asked for that, and he committed he would never do it without a vote because Pelosi did it without a vote. And then in 2020, they got the Trump DOJ to actually issue an opinion that a House impeachment inquiry
Had to have a vote.
Had to have a vote. So this is where I think that the Biden people should just refuse to cooperate with everything because there's not been a vote until there's a vote.
See, so this is, first of all, the problem.
Why
when it
won't they
breaks
have
down.
a vote?
As I've pointed out before, when you do things will be done onto you, which is not a good way to do. But when the rule of law breaks down, which it shouldn't have in the first place, then this is what happens, and others follow suit. The Department of Justice will see if that follows through. I mean, I don't know what the recourse of. So the Biden administration's, I'm not sure what their recourse is, because it is a separate and equal branch of government. So can they ignore?
I think they have political cover. They have political cover.
Yeah, because it says they're invalid. The decision said they're invalid unless the chamber takes a formal vote.
Yeah.
So in theory, if they voted to impeach, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, but to be clear,
no, they have to vote. If they don't vote and they just say, "Hey, we're going to do it,"
they move forward with this, and he's doing it as he is doing without a vote, and then they vote then they impeach.
Right.
I think it won't matter.
But the reason that he didn't have a vote is because he doesn't have the votes.
Yes.
So the prospect that he's going to the thing with Kevin McCarthy is that he operates like a little kid, or who the decisions are what's right in front of him and it's living day to day, or someone with severe ADHD like me.
I was going to say pot. Hello, it's the kettle.
Yeah, I'm not Speaker of the House. But he's he's looking to wit he has a short-term problem with an uprising that is his craziest members demanding impeachment internally, and then the second question is shutting down government, and it's so he has these two things. So he's trying to squash down one in order to try to deal with the other. But the reality is that he doesn't have the votes, and so I think it gives the Biden administration political cover to say, we're not sending anyone to testify. We're not sending any documents. We're not whatever. And then what? They could take a vote on holding them in contempt, which the Democratic impeachment House inquiry did to Republicans who did not choose to testify. But nothing happened. But there was no consequences to those.
Right.
There was nothing.
Right.
So
I mean, couldn't the House do investigation into Hunter Biden and money that came in without doing an impeachment?
And they have.
inquiry?
they literally are doing
Right.
it.
So why do we need to call it that? Is because
Matt Gaetz was it
has to be
because
an
he
impeachment.
holds that over, he holds it over Kevin McCarthy's head.
Right. I mean, I just don't understand why they don't just continue to investigate and call them and find out, get to the bottom of it.
And maybe find something before.
But I also didn't understand, frankly, why the House Democrats didn't do that with Trump. And I thought, I feel like this impeachment thing, it's a big deal to impeach a president.
Yes.
I don't know why I have to say that out loud, because it seems like that's a constitutional crisis to impeach a president, and now that's what we just do. Trump impeached twice, Biden impeachment inquiry. It's just impeach. That's not, it's supposed to be a big deal. It's supposed to be high crimes and misdemeanors, and you're supposed to have a lot of stuff.
Well, I mean, to be clear, right, that if Republicans had followed Mitt Romney's lead on either impeachment inquiry, including, but especially the second one, when everyone was agreed that insurrection was bad, and so if they had you guys would not have the problem you have right now with Trump being.
But
the
you
leader
had
of
the
the
political
party.
problem of
But
the first.
Pelosi-
That was.
But
not
Pelosi
very
did take a
well
vote. She took a vote 6 weeks after she opened the investigation.
Right.
So if he doesn't ever take a vote, then
Right.
Biden should just be go pound sand.
Right. Right. And to be clear, the first impeachment involved the president of the United States holding the country of Ukraine hostage on arms munitions that they wouldn't get unless they announced an investigation of
Hunter Biden.
Of Biden. And things didn't turn out so great in Ukraine, just like we can recall there.
Well, Hunter's no picnic.
No, he's not, and I will definitely not vote.
What I'm saying is, I'm not sure that should be investigated, but I don't know that it rises to the level of impeach. And that is what the American people are looking at now and going, this is just what we do now. And what becomes is no one's paying attention.
Yeah.
On something that should be very, 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 very important.
Yeah, I mean, this is what is, this is the predictable outcome of those 14 or 16 votes it took to make him speaker.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to get rid of him eventually. It's going to be on this, or it's going to be on, we have 2 weeks to save the economy, or not shut down the country, or it's going to be, I mean, one of those things, because they're like terrorists. You can't negotiate with them because they just changed the rules. Yesterday he was like, I'm going to do an impeachment inquiry. Matt Gaetz stood up and was like, you violated our, it was like, you can't make these children happy.
No, they'll never be happy because they don't actually want to move things forward.
No.
They don't want to actually get to the bottom of this.
No.
They want to be able to get on news talk shows and say inflammatory things and have people send them money and say nice things about them on one side. Like they just want to get ratings. That's it.
Well, they're welcome to come on this show. We will give them time.
Well, it's not about leadership. It's not about leading the country. It's not about getting to the bottom of Hunter Biden. It's not about any of that. It's about them getting likes and clicks, and it's pretty gross.
Do the Republicans have control of the Senate?
No. They do not.
So.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Are we informing of you this on our political podcast?
No, he's asking. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah, it's a Socratic method.
Oh my God, they should keep you away from teaching.
Too late now.
No, NBC News has just put up a shutdown watch guide to the mad dash to fund the federal government. I mean, that's what there's no chance in hell we don't have another shutdown.
Well, because how do they come to a middle? And having some experience
shutting down government
along with Governor Dayton.
I'm glad you finally admit that this is your shutdown.
No, the Dayton shutdown, being in the middle of it, in a time where you had two very different approaches. So first of all, I will say to the Republicans, hooray, welcome to the fiscal conservative party again. Where have you been the last 10 years? And second of all, this is, I don't know where this goes, but it is very, very difficult to navigate and negotiate a shutdown. It's going to be politically fraught, and I just don't know that this is the right way to go. But I will say sometimes, I mean, with Governor Dayton and the Republican House and Senate, we were elected two diametrically opposed things. Governor Dayton ran on raising taxes, and the House and Senate ran on tightening your belt and not another penny. And so when the electorate sends two completely different forces together,
stop splitting tickets.
It wasn't that.
I agree. Our trifecta is awesome.
I'm just saying that is. But I'm just saying eventually that they were. There was no. I couldn't bring a tax increase to the House, to the Senate. No one would have voted for that. I wouldn't have voted for that. And so we did come to an agreement in the last hours before the shutdown, which was then taken back. Basically, Governor Dayton said, "No, never mind. I take it back." But the shutdown is it's a tough, terrible thing.
Yeah. Well, and we're heading towards one, and it's interesting because, from my understanding, the Senate has passed individual spending bills, which is what the House members are demanding. But ultimately, they're not going to. Part of the problem they have, right, is that there's not a specificity to what the cuts are, because if you actually, because Republicans will say we need to slash government. It's like Vivek Ramaswamy going to cut it 60% or whatever percentage it was. It was like, oh, okay, most of funding is the military, Medicare,
the entitlements are the biggest chunk.
Right, but
there's no way
the
to
military is the biggest, and then after that, and so then what are you going to do? There's just a reality that like running a country this big costs a lot of money, and some people are okay with that reality, and and others pretend they're not okay with it by shutting down government occasionally, but in the interim, voting for bills that continue spending all that money because it costs money to run a big country like this, and so here we are.
Are they going to take their paychecks?
Brian, are you Are you?
But you know what?
visiting?
No one ever cares about that.
Yeah, I
Davis,
know.
I appreciate
know.
you saying that because you know who didn't take their paycheck during a shutdown?
You.
Me. Me, Senate Majority Leader Koch, didn't take a paycheck. And do you think anybody noticed at all?
No credit.
You're making up for it now. As a
You know what
lobbyist.
happened to me? 4 years later, a guy matched with me on Tinder. And then messaged back and forth. It was kind of weird and awkward. And I was just like, man, I'm not really interested. And then
Was
he
it
yelled
Mark
at me.
Dayton?
Then he yelled at me and said, I worked for the state government and you shut us down.
Did you say I didn't take a paycheck?
Did I never tell you that story? No. That happened.
I thought he was going to
That
say,
happened.
I really appreciate you because you didn't take a...
I will say that at the state fair several years later, a couple employees of the state came to
Okay.
me and said, "We actually know that you didn't take
Yeah.
you didn't take a paycheck, and we
Yeah.
appreciate that because we were going through a tough time." But nope, this
That
guy
was-
matched with me,
that was
and like
nice
had
of-
sort of an
Yell at
awkward back
you.
and forth till I was like, I don't know, this is really weird, and then he just yelled at me.
When I was a state employee and shut down, I was deemed an essential employee, and I got to drive to Rochester and turn the lights on in a community center.
That story's almost as good as Amy's match.
It's a good thing they couldn't find anyone in Rochester to do
Not anybody essential.
Yeah, but
They're all on Tinder talking
Here
to
we
Amy.
are. I mean, like we joke about all this, but this is. It's like the next year is going to be so damn chaotic, and this stuff starting so early. I think this is the beginning of 2024, and so fasten your seatbelts.
I've already-
It's
I
gonna
just,
be
I also just want
bumpy-
to point out,
bumpy night.
53% of both discretionary and mandatory spending is health and Social Security, and 16.2% of that is defense. But the number gets played when you go into discretionary spending. Instead of those that are mandated.
Right, and people like
But
which of
it
those are you
doesn't
going
change
to what are you going to cut of those?
Right.
What,
Well, there you go.
no, that's the problem.
But I don't work on this budget, so stop yelling at me, Tinder.
It's not my fault.
This is before. Yeah, no, yeah. This was before we knew each other, right? Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh no.
No, we met in like 2015.
No,
That was
okay.
after.
All right.
I can't believe I didn't share that nugget.
Lordy. Well,
heard it.
a
You've heard it?
bipartisan group, moving on to Minnesota, a bipartisan group of folks filed a lawsuit to keep Trump off the ballot. I think we talked about. No,
Is
we
it
didn't
people
talk-
and Arnie Carlson? Because they have to stop calling that bipartisan.
It's Joan Grow, too.
No,
well,
no,
she's
she's
a Democrat.
Well,
No,
right.
no, it's
Isn't Arnie Carlson a Republican?
well,
Yes.
ish.
Yeah, like
He keeps the
When I was in-
titles.
when I was in high
Keeps the
school.
title so,
So
that
he can
everybody
have
go,
a bipartisan.
No, but the Republican is not him. I forget who the Republican is. No, it's true. Well, I mean, but this is based on a legal theory that was written by conservative legal scholar, the guy who testified before the
One at St. Thomas, right?
yeah. So it's the David Fisher, the former co-chair of the Steele County Republican Party, Dave Toole, and former.
Oh, I know
Oh,
Dave
we
Toole.
know Dave.
We know Dave
used
Toole.
to be a podcast listener.
Oh, there you go.
I think he and Karen got into it. She doesn't listen to him.
Yep, so former co-chair of the Steele County Republicans. Deal.
So and Dave Toole. See, so it's
Thule.
Okay, Thule.
I mean,
Thule.
here's the thing. I was because I was talking to John Stiles about this because he was saying like I mean that and I think I read the article, the legal article, the and they make a very persuasive case for like that essentially that this include the amendment in the Constitution that speaks to this was post Civil War
14th.
and that it was specifically self-executing. And the reason it was self-executing was that they did not trust Andrew Jackson, the immediate president after Lincoln, to actually, because he was himself a Confederate, they did not trust him to bar Confederates from office. And so, like they make a convincing legal case.
He was a Southerner. He wasn't a Confederate because he stayed with the Union. But he was a racist and sympathizer.
sympathizer.
I'm not trying to defend the man.
Tell the people of Georgia that, though.
He was from
Tell the people of Georgia that he's a racist?
No, what he did, what Jackson did.
Oh.
But it does say that no person shall be
Johnson.
senator or representative in Congress or elector of president or vice president or hold any office under the United States. This is Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. Who, as a member of Congress or an officer of the United States or as a member of the state legislature, as an executive or junior judicial official, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof.
Yes.
That is the 14th Amendment.
I get what they're saying, and I think in a reasonable, rational world, something like this could carry the day. We're not in a reasonable, rational world, and there is enough wiggle room in that, enough vagary in that he's not going to say, "Oh, yep, you got me." No, I mean that's just not going to. It's not going to happen.
And also, Trump is not going to win Minnesota. He hasn't won Minnesota. He got close the first time, but he won't this time.
I think that part of the problem is that we cross the Rubicon of being, or for legal structures being able to stop the rise of authoritarianism in this country, because we have a party that's beholden to a man what John was saying. Well, we're just saying the Constitution means nothing if we don't do this. And while I agree with the sentiment, I think if you follow what would need to happen, it'll go to the U.S. Supreme Court. There's no chance in hell that the 6-3 stacked court is going to rule in favor. But what it will do is actually just build and continue the divisiveness of those who think like that actually holding someone criminally responsible for crimes he committed, that's just a way of keeping up to political battle.
But he hasn't been convicted of that. He has been indicted for that.
He's been indicted.
He's
been indicted, and
I think he'd have to be convicted. I mean,
right.
There should be a very high bar for you to not be able to.
And again, if Republicans had just voted for, if the Republicans who claimed to be outraged about the insurrection had voted for impeachment, then it would just be a non-issue. But here we are.
Well, and I would even say, if I had a vote on this, if he was not convicted yet, I would vote in favor of Trump. Just the way it's written, I just would think legally.
I just want to say this is the most attention a law review note has ever received. Normally, they're just.
I was on law review.
Yeah.
The other day, I tried to remember what our article was we worked on, and you could give me 100 guesses, and I cannot remember.
Yeah, there's some. It's not even published yet. There's some little students sourcing it and site checking it, and they're probably like, "We are the most important people in the United States."
And it's not precedent. I mean, a law review article can be used,
right?
It's
but it's not precedent.
Right.
It's kind of at the bottom of the list.
Yeah,
right.
It's like when you start arguing policy, you know you lost.
Yeah.
So in other news last week, Minnesota news that then became national and international news was a story about DFL Vice Chair Shivanti Satyanandan, who was carjacked in Minneapolis, and then the day after posted on Facebook that social media post then went viral. It became and then folks pointed out that the perceived hypocrisy. We'll talk about this and break all of this down. That she had during the uprising following the murder of George Floyd, called for the dismantling of the Minneapolis Police Department. So first, of course, we would say that I'm certain, speak for all of us, our hearts and with Vice Chair Satyanandan
and her children,
and everyone, her children who witnessed the violent assault, and her neighbors who tried to intervene and such, but thought we should talk about it because of the political implications of kind of the directions that it has gone, both in terms of what she wrote and then how because one of the weird things I think that has happened is that despite actually her explicitly then calling for tougher penalties, although like some of the penalties she's calling for
They went into effect.
they went into effect
that day.
For carjacking. That she was also then like really mocked by right wingers on social media, in ways that I actually genuinely like at first, because when I first read her post, I was like, oh, this is conservatives are going to use this, and what I didn't expect was people to sort of rip her apart for basically suggesting she was faking it in some ways, and so which was like I mean I'm talking about like Minnesota radio hosts and things like that. So, but yeah.
Well, so obviously the DFL is going to take hits when it comes to public safety, right? There was a full on, and it
especially when one of
and I think it is reasonable to say for a party that led the defund the police movement, and you can say whatever you want, but a good portion of the DFL party supported that movement. Than to have someone call for prosecuting and harsher penalties, and just seems it's going to be called into question, particularly someone from Minneapolis. That's just, you have to expect that people are going to call a little bit of hypocrisy on that. Yeah. That as long as it's not happening to you're absolutely defund the police and you're very strong about that, and then it happens to you and the tables are turned instead of all the other people that has been happening to me. Carjackings have been on the rise in Minneapolis and St. Paul for many years now. And a lot of families have been hurt, and a lot of people, and I feel so bad for her and her family, and I'm sorry for her children. I'm sorry for what happened to her. I don't think it's something to mock, but certainly to sort of go, when you need the police, you want them there.
Well,
I mean, she thanked the police. She didn't seem to be saying they were like slow, or she was kind of like, we need to put these people in jail.
She was saying that there should be more of a deterrent. That there need to be tougher penalties that would deter this from happening.
Which were put in place like immediately before. I mean, I think it's always a bad idea to jump online when you're still emotional about something. I mean, I broke my arm once falling off a bike, and it was probably 2 days before I was like, ooh, like felt. I think it's a really bad idea if you represent someone or something. Because if you're the second vice whatever, I don't know what the position is, but if you're that of the DFL, of course when you're saying something, no matter what your online profile says, these are not the opinions, even if you have that, what you say is going to be reflected on the organizations you represent. So I think you got to think it through before you. Now, who knows if she still feels this way, and people went back through her previous post was, about right after the uprising was pretty long and pretty detailed, and it's just I just always think that just stay off. My thoughts. Nobody should tweet. Nobody should post.
Nobody.
Well, and I just want to because the problem with the Minneapolis Police Department was and remains is that that they are bad at the things that they're supposed to be doing, like preventing crime, and can't stop themselves from hurting and killing black people. That's those two things together, and that the Department of Justice, for the first time in their investigations of the police department, actually had a finding of racial discrimination beyond the unconstitutional policing. So when we are talking in the aftermath of the murder of George Floyd, is that this is like it's not keeping communities safe. It's certainly not keeping all communities safe. The problem, right, that nuance is lost. And I'll say, this frustrates me about people in general with talking about crime. I grew up in a place that had and has very, very high crime rate.
Bayamon.
Yeah, Puerto Rico generally, and I mostly did not grow up in Bayamon, but in Puerto Rico generally. And just, a few months ago, my parents' home in Puerto Rico was littered with bullets for no it was just randomly someone at 5 in the morning riddled their house with bullets. There is I cannot explain how terrifying it is, to be their son living in the States and not being able to protect them. But also when something like that happens, and when I go to Puerto Rico and I go out at night, I am thinking about crime all the time. When I drive into my parents' carport, the garage door goes up, and when I pull in, I am looking back to make sure no one comes in after me, and I put the car in reverse in case someone does, so that I can run them over. These are thoughts that you have in Puerto Rico all the time. And I say that not because anyone should live that way, but out of a recognition that actually in our poorest neighborhoods in the United States, that is a reality that people live with. And so my problem with Democrats is that we can't have one philosophy for criminal justice and police when we live in communities where we don't feel that fear, when we are suddenly exposed to that fear. And that is the fundamental problem with posting in the immediate aftermath. Yep. Because unfortunately you will be I think about when I go out in Minneapolis now, my fear is not about being a victim of crime. It's about how it will be used by right wingers if I became a victim of crime, because policy happens at a macro level, anecdotes are not data, and unfortunately when we take the moments when we are most in our amygdalas, when we are most fearful, when we are terrified because something terrifying happened to us, that to be clear, that is not a place of policymaking. That is a place when you need to be taking care of yourself and such. And so the whole thing is very frustrating, because I do think that there's an assumption that what I hear when a lot of people talk about crime is oh, you're suddenly feeling what poor people feel all the freaking time. You're suddenly feeling what my parents feel all the freaking time. It's what I have felt growing up in Puerto Rico. Every time I go home to visit my parents, that's what I feel. And you never feel that. And so it's now it becomes an issue.
Yeah.
Rant over.
No,
You aren't wrong about everything.
No, your point is well taken. After the beginning, when you kind of lumped all cops into one basket, which we can't. They protect and serve.
I lumped the Minneapolis Police Department in one basket.
Well, I know, but I'm not going to lump all of them.
The department was the subject of the DOJ investigation.
I just want to say that they serve a very important role, and we can't emasculate them at every turn.
Emasculate them
by just lumping them all in. They can't do their job. They can't do this. I don't want to diminish your point that you made, which was very well said. I just wanted to throw that out there as just something that I just feel compelled to do. All right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Are we?
Well, the show's over.
We should move.
Someone made a
Night, everybody.
We should move to plugs.
Brian and I are on Tuesdays, the BS show. You can get on podcasts and radio stations across the state. Tune in on Tuesdays to hear our Tuesday thoughts.
And then on Wednesdays.
That's all. Wednesday, you don't get our thoughts.
Yeah.
Get them here.
Yeah, you get, but maybe people don't.
It's Monday that you're screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Patreon has changed their so you know what's weird about the creepy.
We're so excited because we know somebody who is not a dick.
Oh, you did. Well,
I was told somebody.
Yeah.
So I was just gonna say that funny thing about my phone is I check Patreon once a week when we're here, and when I look on my when I go to get an app, it says, "Oh, this is the time of day." Then you look at Patreon. It's very weird. So that's a little creepy.
Watching everything.
But also they just changed their interface, so I can't see who the new not a dick. So what? Anyway, I will wrap it into my Spanks and Thanks. Let's go to that and.
Okay, I can go first. I guess for Spanks and Thanks.
Sure.
All right. So my thanks go out to some nerds that were watching some bears in Alaska. There's a very remote Katmai National Park. They have some famous brown bears, and they have some wilderness cams that are set up, and people will log on to watch the bears. They're kind of local celebrities, and some folks were logged on. They didn't see the bears, but what they did see was a hiker that was lost, and he was he came upon the cameras. He came to the cameras and he mouthed, "Help me." And then he came back again and like did a thumbs down. And as a result, these nerds went to work on the internet to save his life. And they logged in and they said there's a distressed person on the cameras. The Rangers were able to mount a rescue and save his life and get him out of there.
These are the fat bears, right?
Yeah,
From
these are the fat
Week.
bears. It's Dumpling Mountain live stream. I think that's fat shaming the bears, but all right.
Well, but that's what they call
Dumpling.
them. That's what
Yeah, but the brown bears are the ones you don't want to mess with. The black bears you can
Right,
scare away.
right.
The brown bears, they'll just straight up eat you. I mean, the polar bear is the worst one.
You're done
Once
if
you
you
see
see
a
a
polar
polar
bear,
bear.
you're already dead.
It's over.
Why are you in the North Pole? That's when
Well,
if you
that's
say
a good
if you
question.
say if you see a polar bear, yeah, you've made bad decisions.
You're in the
You've
wrong
already
place.
made bad
What
decisions.
if I'm at the Como Zoo?
Well, that's okay. That poor bear.
Well,
he's not going
I
to.
don't
So my spank is for the NFL. And the football season kicked off officially this last week, and I was watching the Vikes game, and it hit me. And then I went to Twitter or X, and the discussion was happening there. All the pregame shows, all the postgame shows. There's a couple women that are on the field, but for the most part, it is entirely male. Now I understand. Men play the game, and you're going to have if you're going to have ex-players on, of course you're going to men, but literally 100% of the commentators are men. And by the way, just so the NFL knows, 50% of American women watch the NFL. That's true. In 2002, 14% of the Super Bowl viewers were women. Now in 2020, 49% are women. 59% of women are either casual or avid fans, and so I think the NFL just one. You're
really
missing
are a
out.
lot more
Also,
lesbians
by the
than I
way,
thought.
we're going to tune in a lot more because it is rumored that T Swift is quietly dating Travis Kelce, and I'm very excited about that. So why don't you put some friggin' women on your shows?
Travis Kelce plays for Kansas City. He and his brother played against each other in the Super Bowl last year. It was a very good storyline.
He's
Very
really
beautiful
good.
man.
He's very handsome, and he's very good at
very
football.
fun, very
Much like
funny.
she's also a very handsome woman and very talented at what she does.
Yeah.
So
I
look-
this is
Yes,
an
they're
exciting
top of their
tournament,
games.
and these are the things that maybe some people could touch on while we're watching the
go
game.
back to the T Swift part. She's dating this guy?
Well,
Allegedly.
they've been quietly seeing each other according to sources.
See, I look forward
Has
to
that
the
been
song.
confirmed?
I look forward to the song because she doesn't have enough football metaphors in her. Like,
That's right.
Yeah, be
50-yard
careful,
line.
Travis Kelce.
I am calling it now. The song will be called 50-yard line.
Very nice.
50-yard line.
You know,
She might have
you
a
and
song
T
called
Swift have a lot in common.
Do I?
Yep, you guys like the same thing. That guy,
What's that?
Say it now, Brian.
Go ahead.
Travis Kelce's a tight end.
I mean, they're really all tight
Anyway,
ends in the
this
NFL.
is the kind of commentary they really do all have tight ends.
For the record, I got that joke pre-approved. on here.
Anyway, this is the kind of stuff that we could have. Get some women on your shows.
Yeah.
NFL, get with it. I mean, nothing else. Don't you want to make more money?
Yeah.
I want to hear more
Appeal
about
to your
these
greed.
tight ends.
Well, tune in on Sunday
on Sunday.
or Monday
There aren't
or
enough of them.
Thursday.
They're all
All
hurt.
over the field this Thursday, tomorrow. Eagles. Skull. And that's all.
Wide receivers, too.
All right, should I go next?
Sure.
All right. My preview to my spank is that my dad used to have a saying where somebody would say, like, oh, that person, like, they're just classless. And he would say, no, they got lots of class. It's all low. And so this brings me to Rep. Lauren Boebert, one of the hijackers of the House. She was thrown out of a local production in Denver, in Colorado, of Beetlejuice, the musical, for being a disturbance. And she tried to be like, yeah, I was laughing and I was singing. She was also vaping in the show.
Jesus.
And they said,
She denies the vaping.
could you stop vaping? And she said, no. And then she got belligerent with the security guard, and there's video footage of her like flicking him off in his face. And the best is the footage after she and whoever that person was with her, a man.
Travis Kelce.
Not Travis
Quietly-
Kelce.
Travis Kelce.
Oh, and as she was leaving, she said, "Do you know who I am? I'm on the
She pulled
board.
that,
I'll be
didn't she? She pulled
contacting
it.
the mayor."
She did
And
pull
they're
the
like,
"Do you know who I am?"
If your sentence starts off with "Do you know who I am?" you're going to end up on the internet.
Yeah, and then the best is the face of the people after she leaves. They just all look at each other like, dodged a bullet with that one. But yeah, so
So she's an art supporter.
yeah, she's a supporter, which is the one surprising thing of the whole thing.
Also, dinner theater have higher standards than Congress.
It's true. It's true. They got her out of there. They were like,
You know what, though? It's their fault because they said her name 3 times.
and my thank is to my spouse Sarah. It's our anniversary today.
Oh, bravest shared
Yeah.
anniversaries.
Despite Amy's best efforts, Sarah and I were married.
not
9
yours
years ago.
specifically.
You did that.
Yeah.
You did that.
Oh yeah, now you have to apologize. Now you have to
Now-
not specifically.
All right,
both
what
of you.
chores do you need done? List them off, and I'm making notes.
Now
I'll
she
be
has,
over
hey, they
about.
have a cabin.
I'll be over.
It's
a
true.
cabin.
Davis
Do I
and
need
Sarah
to
have a
go?
cabin.
Well, I will go where the chores are. Let me know. Is there sinks to unclog?
Probably. Yeah.
Probably.
All right.
There is a tire to fix.
That's true. Yeah.
So yes.
You don't you don't want me fixing tires. I can unclog a sink.
All right.
All done?
Yep. I'm done.
Well, I guess I need to start my stuff off with that. Yesterday was my wedding anniversary.
Despite Amy's best
Despite
efforts,
Amy's best efforts.
I did interrupt the proposal.
That's true. You mess with everyone's wedding here. You mess with everyone's wedding.
She messed with the proposal for sure. And a friend of the program, Rochelle, tried to get me to not date Jenny in the first place. Nothing personal.
goodness.
She just felt like I shouldn't be dating anybody.
Oh, sure. That's fair. That's
she
fair.
was probably
She's probably
right.
still right.
I thought so too until I met Jenny. I'm like, oh, okay, this one.
This one.
This one.
Michelle was just
You were
looking
right
out
about
for
that,
And
Jenny.
history has proven
Yeah.
that you have a certain way about that.
That is correct.
Yes.
I called them when they're bad, and I called them when they're good.
Yep.
Me, on the other hand.
Yeah, no, you are a
This is a
terrible
tornado.
Do not go to Amy for like, hey, should I date this person? She's like, yeah, that sounds great.
Sure.
Or no, absolutely not.
If I may.
Yes, please.
So my spank is going to be to New Mexico Governor Michelle Grisham, who issued an emergency order suspending the right to carry firearms in public in and around Albuquerque. This is blatantly unconstitutional. She knows that it's unconstitutional. She's looking to drive the conversation on it, and that's fine. Quite obviously, there was immediately lawsuits that were filed against it. It's not going to be allowed to stand. The county district attorney, who is a Democrat, Sam Bregman, so this might be a thank of him, who once served as a Democratic Party leader and was appointed by the governor. On Saturday, she joined the Albuquerque mayor, Tim Keller, and police chief, Harold Medina, saying they would not enforce the order because, and this is a quote, as an officer of the court, I cannot and will not enforce something that is clearly unconstitutional. We get what she's doing. She's trying to raise the visibility of an issue, but when you are messing with the Bill of Rights this blatantly, it deserves a spank. And there's talk of impeachment. The Democrats are in control of the legislature there, so it probably won't happen, though there is a bipartisan outrage for what she did.
All right.
As every person in my family calls me in a row.
They don't know what you do.
They don't know what I've done for
They're
the
still
last
stuck on Fridays.
9 years. But anyway, and my thank, Gabe, if you can run the video, please.
I said, Romeo, save me. I've been feeling so alone. I keep waiting for you, but you never come. In my head, I don't know what to think. Now to the crowd and pulled out a ring and said, marry me, Juliet.
All right, that was good. Thank you, Gabe. Well, that was not Travis Kelce's girlfriend, T.
But
Swift.
someone who's quietly dating him potentially.
But that was actually my daughter, Sarah, who, and my thank is to Johnny Holm, from the Johnny Holm Band, who anyone who's spent any time in Minnesota has heard of Johnny Holm. He has been playing every prom, county fair, everything since I was in
the Blue Note Ballroom in Winsted, Minnesota.
Yeah, since I watched him when I was in college. That was quite some time ago. Johnny is mid-70s and doing great, but he was playing the Burnsville Festival this last weekend, and I was doing comedy there, so my wife and daughter were with me, and Johnny Holm kept coming into the crowd, and a couple times he had my daughter sing and blah, 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 and then one time he brought her up on stage. Now, he didn't know that musical theater is her jam, so she got up on stage, and she belted out, and T Swift is not, they didn't tell her what it was ahead of time, but she did a really good job. And so
they didn't tell her ahead of time?
No.
Just like, here, sing. And
They just brought her up there, and I guess they assumed that every 13-year-old girl knows every word to every T Swizzle song, and that's partially true.
My God, that could have been abusive.
Yeah, could have been. That person on the left. That person was doing too much.
Someone has a really good eye for, that was amazing.
But anyway, so she did a great job. It was a memory of a lifetime for her. So I just want to thank Johnny Holm for giving her that memory and us, and thank you, sir.
Oh, that's sweet. So I did finally find the right page.
Nice.
On the, Abdullahi is our brand
We know him.
We know Abdullahi. He's friend of the
Hey, guess what?
podcast.
Abdullahi
Definitely
came
not
from
a dick.
us.
Oh, wow.
He's not a dick, man.
He's not a
so
dick.
wonderful.
I texted with him this weekend. I probably reminded him.
This is the best.
Well, thank you, Abdullahi, for joining the most exclusive club in Minnesota.
But also,
have
we understand that
everything.
Neil from Wyoming, maybe he
Neil
joined
from
last
Wyoming,
week, is
Minnesota.
also not a dick. Not a dick.
Neil has not joined.
It was reported to us.
Oh,
Was
no.
report maybe?
Maybe touch base
Also
with.
discrepancy.
Disparities of discrepancy.
Oh, yeah.
Be smirching
Does he
Neil.
know that only I check the account? Maybe he's, hey, I'm totally not a dick.
Yeah, he's like, no, I got it, guys.
Got it, guys. All right, Neil. So I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, not a dick.
You can join. And but this week is Abdullahi's week. We want to thank everyone who listens to the program and appreciates the program and who can afford it and who throws a few bucks our way. It helps us pay the bills here. We appreciate it deeply. Patreon.com/wrongabouteverythingpodcast. Please give generously if you can, because if you can afford it and you don't, you're kind of being a dick. Yeah. Now to my my Spanx. I think I have a double thank. A double thank, and my first one is kind of a double thank within the thank. So I'm like full of thanks. So first, the Carver County Library Board declines to remove a book. We have a rash of book bans across the country, and anything having to do, particularly with anything that that acknowledges the existence of Davis and me. As being problematic.
Ban it. Get it out of here.
Yeah. That
Or as Amy would say, Davis and I.
anything that acknowledges our presence is literally called grooming. In this case, it was as well. A book called Gender Queer, and so there was a debate about it, and they decided not to do that. Just generally appreciate, but the thank within the thank is that one of the groups in this NPR story that. About the conversation that happened and where they decided not to ban books. Someone is identified as a member of trans advocacy organization Tigers, Transgender, Intersex, Gender Expansive, Revolutionary Resources and Services. Tigers with 2 R's. That has got to be the best.
The best acronym
I've ever heard. He's like, rawr. Like you come
and
after
they
us,
said
rawr.
that no one at that meeting testified for banning it, right?
Yeah, they didn't show up to actually.
Cowards.
Yeah. And then my second thank is folks who listened to last week, Zion McDaniel here. Was condemned
Zing.
Mahmoud Abbas's Holocaust revisionism, which was, of course, abhorrent, and so wanted to point people to more than 75 leading Palestinian leaders, intellectuals, and activists around the world sharply condemned Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas, and also decried his anti-Semitism and the rise of authoritarianism in the Palestinian territory, and with the Palestinian official leadership there. This is the problem of Palestine is, one, that it is occupied territory, that it exists within a country that has become an apartheid country, and then within that people that this Mahmoud Abbas's party has been able to consolidate power and become increasingly authoritarian, and then hold the whole community hostage when they do something incredibly stupid like deny the Holocaust, like he did. So praising the leaders across the world who came out to denounce the anti-Semitism and historical revisionism. And I guess that's it. That's all. And with that, I am Democratic strategist and the Puerto Rican Heat, Javier Murillo.
I am small business attorney Davis Senseman.
I wish I was quietly dating Travis Kelce, and I'm cool with all your marriages now. Amy Koch.
Wow.
I am conservative strategist, and the exact same age Wilford Brimley was, 18,530 days, when Cocoon came out. Brian McDaniel.
And we are
Wrong about everything.
Take it away, Gabe.